and welcome to another edition of The Cognitive Discourse. On today's episode, we're going to cover a topic that I don't believe that I've covered yet. I might have covered it slightly. I've already done like 50-something episodes, so more than likely I have touched upon it, but I haven't really dove into it. And I felt like I needed to talk about it just because it's very prominent in my life right now. And I want to share my road to how I got to where I am. You know, every day is a growing, a chance to grow and be better. And I know for me, my journey, although I've gone through a lot of negative trenches and darkness throughout my life, there have been a lot of positives. And you know, I'm a seeker of truth. And there's been a lot of things that have happened within the past couple of years, within this past year, that really has, I guess, I don't want to say like, I don't know how to word it, opened my eyes, awoken me, is that the way to say it, I guess? But if you haven't guessed yet, today we're going to be talking about religion. So, again, if you're not a religious person, this episode still may be interesting to you. If whether you're an atheist, whether you're, a Christian, a Muslim, whatever your religious beliefs are, I want you to understand that I'm not trying to push my views on you. I just wanted to kind of explain my journey and what kind of got me to where I am now, why I believe the way I believe, and possibly, share some information that either you're going to believe or you're not going to believe, that, you may laugh at, that you may think I'm crazy, whatever have you. You guys know the gist of this show. And if you're new to the show, the title should give it away, of the show. This is just what I believe. These are my opinions. I'm open to other people's opinions, open to other people's interpretations, and I'm not, I don't have my feet firmly planted in a particular ideology or tribal mentality. I'm open to change my opinions and admit that I'm wrong at times, and so yeah, with that out of the way, this episode is going to be about religion. So again, if this is not a topic that you're into or you think it's a joke, I still hope that you will listen to this episode regardless, and again, hear my opinion regardless if you agree with it or not. And if you think I'm goofy or this entertained you in some way, then so be it. There is some things that I will be mentioning that I will have the sources to down in the description. And particularly, there's one video that I will, when we get there, I'll explain that video, and I'll have the links down in the description for that video. So first, I just want to start off and talk about growing up in my household with religion, and kind of give you my way of thinking and my thought process and my journey and my path into what kind of pushed me away, and how it ultimately came to my final stance on religion. And again, my final stance, and what I mean by final stance is where I'm at right now. It's not my final stance. Like I said, I'm always changing, always evolving my ideas. When new facts come and stuff like that, I'm willing to change my opinions. So we're just going to lead up to where I'm at today. If that makes sense. Anyway, so when I was younger, I was raised in a single parent home until my stepdad came into the picture around my 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there, between the ages of 3 and 5, somewhere in there, my stepdad appeared, and he didn't really become a prominent figure in my life until I was about 7 or 8. That's when he really became like, quote unquote, my dad. And I have my own issues with that. I've planned on doing an episode where I kind of share my story about my life with my stepdad. Just because he's also been he's been showing up in my mom's life here recently, unwanted, but yeah, different episode. Anyway, so with my mom in particular, my mom has always been a religious person. The difference with my mom, though, is that my mom was never really big on church. She was never really big on the religion as a whole. I'll try to elaborate. My mom had a relationship with Jesus Christ, a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. My mom would read her Bible every night. My mom prayed every morning and every night. And I remember seeing my mom, which she still does to this day, but she would have, like, before she would go to work, she had a rosary in her vehicle. My mom was a cab driver for 14 and a half years. And so in her vehicle, she had a rosary. And I remember every morning, it was a thing. I didn't bother my mom when I got in the van in the morning when she'd take me to school and stuff, because before she took me to school and before she went to work, she would rub her rosary that was around her rearview mirror, and she would say a prayer. And that's the extent of my mom's religion. My mom believes in Jesus Christ. Let me rephrase that. And she keeps Jesus Christ very close to her heart. But she has her own relationship with Jesus, and doesn't let her beliefs bleed out onto other people. That was my life growing up with my mom. Now on the other hand, my family, one of my aunts, who I called Nana because she was basically like my grandma growing up, she also was very religious, but she was the opposite side of that, and she was the very pushy type of individual. People that I tend to get annoyed by. And I think those people are also people that push the majority of people who are not into religion. They tend to kind of push them away. It does the opposite of what they're trying to achieve. But she used to always do that with my mom. She would always tell my mom, like, how come you don't teach, the Bible and preach the word of God to your son and blah, 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 blah. And also to my sister. I have a sister as well. She's 10 years older than I am. But I pretty much felt like the only child, because growing up, my sister moved out of the house when she was like 14. So I was like 4. And she went to go stay with her dad because we have different dads. And so I basically grew up without her in the home. So I've always been the only child in my eyes. Me and my sister don't really have the greatest relationship. And I might do an episode with that as well, where I kind of explain the relationship with my sister and yeah, I'm at a point in my life where I'm willing to be as open as possible with you folks. So if that's stuff that you want to hear those kind of stories, I'm okay with sharing those. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So my aunt would always push that on her, and my mom would always tell her, like, I have my relationship with God, and I have a healthy relationship with him. And when my son is ready and he comes to me for answers and he has questions, I'll be there to guide him. But until then, it's his life. He needs to figure things out on his own. And it always rubbed my aunt the wrong way. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, who were very religious. And now that I'm older, I'm thankful that my mom did that. Because, religion isn't a big thing in our home as far as like me teaching my kids. My kiddos are young. They're very young. But, when we first had them, my mindset was that I didn't want to teach them anything and just let them figure it out. And as I've grown and developed, I definitely would like to still have that conversation with them. And then again, that's one of the reasons why I do these podcasts. When they're older and they have questions, I may steer them to this episode first and say, hey man, look, this is the journey that your dad took. We all have our journeys. We all have our trials and tribulations. We all have things that we are going to discover throughout life. And, as your father, I want to be there to help guide you and answer questions, to help. But at the end of the day, it's your journey, and you're going to make up your mind, and you're going to decide which path that you want to take. All I can do is guide, but I'm not going to force anything on them. And again, I wasn't forced. And so having that freedom to decide has really helped me, I think, in the building blocks of who I've become today. So yeah, one of the things that I think hurt my feelings the most, and again, I don't remember if I told the story on here, but it hurt my, excuse me, I burped. It hurt my feelings because of the relationship that I had with my Nana. So to hear it from her mouth really kind of scarred me, and it put a sour taste in my mouth towards religion. So as a young kid, like I said, religion really wasn't in my household. My mom was doing her thing, and she kind of left me alone when it came to that. She just let me be a kid. She let me focus on enjoying being a child. When I started coming into my teenage years, I discovered heavy music. I started wearing black all the time. I grew my hair out. I painted my nails. I had piercings all on my face. I was your typical quote-unquote goth kid. I grew up during the nu metal scene, so, one of the first bands that I remember hearing was like Slipknot and Cold Chamber, and so I went down that road, Marilyn Manson, stuff like that. And that's when I discovered music. I started playing bass at 14, and I've been playing music ever since. Well, I remember one holiday. It was Thanksgiving, and it was when my mom had bought her first home. We had come back from we had moved to California to be with my sister in the late 90s, early 2000s. And we were only there for maybe a year or two. And then we came back to Texas. We didn't like California, and I still don't like California. But we just didn't like it there. And we decided to come back home. And when we did, my mom busted her ass, became a cab driver, was working 16, 17-hour days, was raking in the money. And within the first year that we were back here in San Antonio, she bought a home. And I do miss that house. I grew up in that house in my teenage years. But anyway, it was our first time hosting a Thanksgiving dinner at my mom's house, a house that she bought. And that's a big thing for my family because, on my mom's side, I have 11 aunts and uncles. So, they had a lot of kids, and the family's very, very big. I'm the youngest of the first cousins, and I have second and third cousins that are older than me. So yeah, try to digest that. But I always joke with the family or with certain family members that I find it weird that my grandparents basically were still having kids when their oldest was having kids. So when the oldest daughter, who has recently passed, rest in peace, but when she had her first kid, my grandparents were still popping out kids. So my mom was actually an aunt before she was even born. But yeah, my family on my mom's side is very, 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 very large. And so, we're also from a poor family. My mom, they grew up on a little farm in Pawnee, Texas. And so the house that they lived in was very small. And my grandparents admitted, they didn't deny it. Like they had that many kids because they needed workers. So they basically lived on that property, and they were able to live on that property with the owner had made a deal with them. Basically, you can live on this property, and in return, you pick cotton. So my mom was a cotton picking family. So being able to come from that and being able to buy your own home, regardless of how old you are, is a big thing for that side of my family. So we're having Thanksgiving there, and my mom's, making turkey and ham, and we got all the fixings, man. And we're getting ready to sit down and eat. And again, this was around the time that I was getting into heavy music, and my appearance was changing. I was no longer that cute little kid that, my family loved. I was now becoming the black sheep, if you will, of the family. One of the few family members that listened to metal and went through the whole gothic phase. And I remember my aunt seeing that, and my mom told me that she would bring it up all the time. Like, why do you let him dress like that? Why do you let him do this and that? And my mom was like, look, man, he's going to find his way. And she's like, well, that's Satan music. Don't you believe that? Like, well, it is what it is. He'll find his way. And again, it was a phase. I mean, I still listen to heavy music, but I don't dress that way anymore. I dress like a dad now. I wear basketball shorts and Crocs, and I wear band tees still, but for the most part, I'm wearing basketball shorts and Crocs everywhere I go. If I have to put pants on, I don't want to go. But anyway, so my aunt saw that as an opportunity to kind of fuck with me. Anywhere I would go. And the thing was, I wasn't a religious person, but I knew to respect other people's beliefs. I never talked down to anybody on their religion. You believe what you believe, and that's fine. If that helps you get through the day and that helps you cope with life, then by all means. That was always my philosophy. That was the way I always was growing up, and how I still am today. And I remember sitting down to eat, and when people would say grace at a table, if I was over at a friend's house or another family member's house, or even at my house, my mom wanted to say grace when we had a table full of people, I respected their wishes, and I wouldn't eat anything. I just wouldn't bow my head and participate. But I would sit there and let people do what they wanted to do. And then when they were done, out of respect, I would wait, and then I'd enjoy my meal. So my aunt takes it as an opportunity to kind of take a dig at me. And when we're getting ready to say grace, my aunt goes that extra mile and makes everybody grab hands. Everybody grab hands. Everybody grab hands. And she goes, Joseph, you say grace. I was like, and I looked at her like, come on, man, you know I don't do this. Like, so I kind of gave her this look like, huh? She's like, it's your house, you say grace. I'm like, it's actually my mom's house, but she can say grace. I'm not going to say grace. And I was like, I'll respect y'all's wishes and do what y'all got to do. Like, I'll respectfully sit here and be quiet, and y'all do your thing. And she goes, what's the matter? You don't believe in God? And right then and there, I looked at her and I said, I don't know what I believe. So in short, so we're not getting into this, not at this moment. And she looked me in the eyes, and she just stared into my soul almost. And then goes, what's wrong with you? That hurt. I got up from the table and I went to my room. That type of judgment is what pushed me away from religion at a young age. One of the things. Wasn't the main thing, but it's one of those things. Again, because I never judged anybody. And that was one of the things that always bothered me about religion. Now understand what I'm going to share with you guys. I'm not a religious nut, okay? And like I said, I'll get to where my stance is with my religious beliefs later. I'm trying to let y'all understand my journey. But at the time, I never understood the judgmental part. I saw hypocrisy in religious folks at an early age. Because my understanding of religion, my understanding of Jesus Christ, my understanding of God, was He was the only one who could judge me. So with that knowledge, I find it very hypocritical that people who are trying to spread the word of God are doing the opposite of that which they preach. If Jesus Christ is the only one that can judge me, then why are you judging me? Now, I want you to understand that I'm making the separation between God and Jesus Christ, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. And it'll make sense when we get towards the end of this. Because not everybody's God is the same. It'll make sense later. So as I was growing up, and I ran into that a lot. I ran into it a lot throughout my life. Even in my adult life, when I was still trying to figure things out. Because at the end of the day, I always believed that there was something bigger than us. Always. But I didn't know what it was. And I definitely wasn't going to listen to people who were flawed. And people who are preaching one thing but doing other things that don't follow that. Almost that rule for thee but not for me mentality. And you're seeing that a lot in society in general with political ideals. I saw that same shit with religion at a young age. I noticed the irony. I noticed the hypocrisy. I went down a road of atheism, being an atheist as well. Atheism, being an atheist, whatever you want to call it. And I'll get to why that was a joke for me too. And the video that I'm going to talk about at the end also furthers my outlook on that and why it was silly to me. Now, understand, don't take that out of context. I said silly to me. If you're an atheist, that's fine. But the concept, again, because I believe that there's stuff bigger than me, bigger than you, bigger than us. So the construct of atheism doesn't make sense to me. But we'll get into that. I still want to share a few more stories. So during my phase of atheism, if you will, and again, I only said I was an atheist because at the time I didn't know what I believed. And so when people would ask me, I felt like saying I was an atheist was just the easiest way to get people off my back. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't believe anything. I just drop it. Because I didn't want to talk religion. When I was younger, I was taught never to talk religion and politics. And we have completely gone off the fucking deep end. And those are the only two main things people fucking talk about nowadays. And because of that, people who I've known, who I've grown up with, who know me on a personal level, don't talk to me anymore. Because of either my political views or my religious views. Everything else that they've grown to know about me is null and void. And that hurts. But where I'm headed today, I don't let it bother me. But when I was younger, and I used to go with the whole atheist bit, there was a time that I worked at an overnight store. I worked overnights, and I worked with a lot of older people. I believe I was one of the youngest ones there, because I was like 18, 19 at that time. And I remember two older individuals began talking about God. And as they were talking about it, one of our other coworkers, who was also young like me, wasn't part of the conversation, but she butts in anyway. She was an atheist. And she basically goes, "Oh, that's cute. You guys still believe in make-believe people? Y'all still believe in Santa Claus too?" And she started walking away. And I called her. I was like, whoa, 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 hold on. Come back here. Where are you going? Who are you to talk shit about what their faith is? I don't understand it. The funny thing is that you're perpetuating exactly what you hate Christians for. The majority of atheists that I knew around that time did that. Again, I said I was an atheist just because I didn't want to hear other people's view on religion. So I said it just to kill the conversation. Because when I was younger, I didn't know what I believed. All I knew was that there was something that we can't explain. There's something bigger than us. And as egotistical and narcissistic as I can be, that still always humbled me. So to hear somebody who talks shit about Christians because, or as she called them, Bible thumpers, you're doing the exact same thing by just not letting people live with their belief. You're jumping in going, "Oh, well, I don't like people when they push their religion, but you know what? I'm also going to make fun of those people." Instead of just saying, being a fucking adult and ignoring them. That type of stuff always made me question people's character. Fast forward to later in life. I'm working and I'm a driver now. I have my first kiddo. And I'm driving this individual who is I guess he's a missionary. I don't know what the fuck you call him, but he worked for the church in some form or fashion. And I don't know if he was Catholic or Christian or what. I don't. All those religions are kind of the same to me, except there's one huge difference with Christianity, which we'll get into. But I remember being in the car with him, and I never had issues with anybody. I'm a pretty likable guy when you meet me. Even the people that hate me, if you ask them if they've ever sat down and actually talked to me, they'll find something of why they like. I'm easy to talk to. I'm easygoing. Yes, I'm an asshole, but for the most part, when people first meet me, there's an aura about me and that's one of the reasons why some people don't like me that never got to really get to know me. But regardless, I'm in the car with this guy, and out of nowhere he brings up religion. Now, when I'm on the job, I don't talk about religion or politics. Plain and simple. I was a driver when Trump first got into office. And even then, I wasn't in the political realm. I didn't care about Trump when he first got into office. On the contrary, the only reason why I got pulled into politics and wanted to understand politics was later in Trump's presidency, because I didn't understand all the hate that he was getting. So I had to do my own research. So I had to deal with that shit a lot when I was a driver. And when people would bring up politics or religion, I'd just tell them, with all due respect, I'm working right now, and that's not a topic that I wish to talk about. Most people respected my wishes because they understood that there's a chance that I could get in trouble at work for that shit. Sorry if you keep hearing me burp. I'm drinking soda. I should be drinking water right now, but I wanted a soda so bad. Anyway, so this in particular individual couldn't respect those wishes. And he kept asking me, do you believe in Jesus Christ? And I was like, sir, I don't want to have this conversation with you. He's like, no, it's okay. I just want to know where you are when it comes to religion. So I eventually buckled. And I told him, if I'm being completely honest with you, I don't know where I stand with religion, man. I'm not going to sit here and say that I believe in Jesus Christ. But what I do know is that I believe that there is something bigger than us that we can't explain. I believe that there is something that we answer to. I do believe that at the end of the day, our bodies are just a manifestation of energy. And when we die, that energy has to go somewhere. And he didn't like that answer. He's like, so are you telling me that you're denying Jesus Christ? I was like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I don't know. What I'm saying is that at the end of the day, I try to live my best life. And I try to treat people right. I have a set of morals and a moral compass that has been brought down on me from my parents, my mother, and I live that way. I try not to live selfishly. And I treat people the way I want to be treated, with respect, integrity, and dignity. I don't try to screw anybody over. I don't try to knowingly hurt anyone. I try to live my life as positive and as clean as possible. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, that's all well and good. But if you deny Jesus Christ and you don't accept Jesus Christ into your heart, then you're destined for hell. That didn't sit well with me. This was another thing that made me disassociate myself from religion as a whole and from religious people as a whole. Fear-mongering. I looked back at him and said, so you're telling me everything that I just told you is null and void, doesn't matter, that in your eyes, I'm as bad as a serial killer. I'm as bad as a child rapist. I'm as bad as a Satanist. And he said, yes. And then he used some religious lingo. I don't know. I can't say it verbatim, but he said something to the eyes of like, if you deny Jesus Christ at the gates, then he denies you eternal life, or something to that effect. You religious boys out there will know what he meant by that. But that's why I don't like talking religion with people. Because at the end of the day, he's basically saying it doesn't matter how I live my life. If I don't believe in Jesus Christ, I go to the fiery place. Which made me question, how are you living your life, sir? Because Jesus Christ is the only one who lived without sin. So who are you to judge me, sir? And who are you to push so hard? In your mind, you're just spreading the gospel. But in my mind, you're spreading fear. Those are the types of things that really bugged me. And also, growing up in my teenage years and in my early adulthood, there were other things that bugged me. Let's take the Pope, for instance. The Vatican. Mega churches. Those things bug me. So let's look at the Pope. Why does the Pope bug me? Well, because my little understanding of religion, is that we are not supposed to worship false idols. We are not supposed to bow down to man. What's the Pope? And I don't care about the excuses that you come up with trying to define who the Pope is to me. I don't care. Because if we're going off of Jesus Christ is the only person that we're supposed to look up to and bow down to, then that's the way it's supposed to be. And explain to me why the Vatican was one of the most richest places financially. Ties into the George Carlin joke. God always needs money. Does he? My disdain for the Vatican is the same disdain that I have for megachurches and those fake prophets preaching the word of God only to take your money, to take from the congregation, and instead of giving back to the community, giving back to those who are misfortune, they take that money and they spend it on themselves. They indulge in sin. Now again, I'm not a huge religious person. I had these same views when I was a kid, when I didn't fully, and I still don't fully understand religion. But explain to me why you would follow individuals that are committing sins such as greed, gluttony, it doesn't make sense. And sure, you could say, oh, well, the churches, they need money so they can function. Okay, that's fine. What happened to living humbly and not having any material possessions? That's a preacher that I would follow. A preacher who sees that material possessions are not important. That wealth financially is not important. But wealth of eternal light is. And that his mission is to spread the word of God. To live humbly. Now, I have an explanation as to why these entities exist and why religion has been skewed so much. But I wanted to explain why I had a distrust and a disdain, a loathingness of religion and people. And it's not everyone's fault. I think a lot of you who are listening now who are Christians or who are in some realm of faith, I think there's genuineness to it. But you've been lied to and you've been blinded by darkness. Now, growing up, I was also really big into conspiracies. And with conspiracies, you don't have to believe them. But I watched a video here recently, and this particular video ties a lot of that stuff together. Not all of it, but makes certain parts more digestible, more believable. And it's all centered around religion, which has made me start to build my relationship with Jesus Christ. Not with Christianity, not with the churches, not with pastors, not with the Pope, but with Jesus Christ. None of that other stuff matters to me. And the reason why I'm allowing myself to try to build that relationship with Jesus is because I've seen what the world actually is. I've been awoken to all the lies, or as some people will say, the simulation that we are in. So now we're going to get into a part of the show where you might think I'm crazy. But understand this is my view and my view alone. And understand that there are things that we can't explain. And I think deep in my soul that we have all been lied to. And when the truth, if it ever comes out, some, if not most of y'all aren't going to be able to handle it. So I watched a video the other day. It's 5 hours long. And I'm going to leave a link down in the description. And I urge you to watch it because it will break everything down better than I can. Better than I can. And if you think 5 hours is a lot to devote your time to this, think about how much time you're wasting watching movies, playing video games, and doing all this extra bullshit. Just sit down and experience it. Take it as you want. You don't have to believe any of it, but I'm telling you the shit that this guy brings up, it shook me to the core. And it made me again. It made everything that I questioned, what we just talked about the churches, about the pastors, about the Pope, about religion in general. It puts it all into perspective. All that shit seemed very fishy to me. Watching this 5-hour documentary, years later, made me say, a light switch went off in my head. That's why. So if you're not going to watch the 5 hours, I'll give you a brief summary of what is in this video. But I urge you, please go look at it, okay? I'm going to tell you guys right now. Let me bring up the video. So this video has been removed before. Even the original post was removed. So it's making its rounds on YouTube. The link that I'll be sharing with you guys is still up. It's been up for about, since October 4th, 2021. So depending on when you're listening to this link may not be there anymore. But if it still works, please press it, go watch it. And if it can help you, I hope it can help you. If you have the same questions that I had about, if you agreed with the things that I just brought up, go watch this video. The person who does the video is a man named Atilian Childs. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, but it's spelled Altiyyan, and then last name is Childs, Childs. He was on the Australian X Factor. He was the winner in 2010. Now, this individual speaks about this topic because he lived it. And the topic that he's going to discuss, and again, I'm telling you this so you could find it if the link ever goes away. But the title of this video it's titled Best Modern Exposure of Freemasonry. Time to Wake Up, Saints. And I believe he has the DVD. I think if this is right, but it's you can get the Freemasonry Unveiled on DVD. So that might be the actual name of the film, or I guess you call it documentary that he does. It's a 5-hour long video, but I think the original title was Freemasonry Unveiled. But you found the video. If the link doesn't work, it's again, look up what the guy looks like. But he has long hair, and in the video he's wearing like a white sweater with a black shirt, wearing a crucifix, dog tags, and he's what looks like he's in his living room. There's a blue couch behind him and some white walls and some blue curtains. So I'm just explaining that in case this video is not there, you know how to look for it. And in this video, he discusses Freemasonry. Now, for those who don't want to go watch it, or if you're interested, I'll give you a little summary of what this 5 hours consists of. Now, understand that this guy was a Freemason. If you're a Freemason now, or you know somebody who's a Freemason, and you think what I'm saying is all bullshit, I'll try to get to you here in a second. But understand, for those who don't understand Freemasonry, there's levels to this shit. So people that you may know who are Freemasons, or Freemasons who are telling you that none of this is true, find out what level they are. And even then, can you truly believe them? Because one of the things you have to understand about Freemasonry is that you have to take an oath. It's a secret society. And again, conspiracy theories, I know. But it's a secret society that you have to take an oath. And for those Freemasons that say, oh, well, we do a lot of stuff with churches, and we raise a lot of money for communities, and we do a lot of good. Okay. But again, look deeper. This guy explains it. About 80 to 90% of the people who are Freemasons, who are on the lower levels, they believe that they're doing good. They don't understand what Freemasons are and what the cover-up of Freemasonry actually is for, what religion they actually are. It's a group of Satanists, and Freemasons run the world. We are not living in the world. This is not God's planet. And the reason why I said earlier that I separate God and Jesus Christ, the reason why I was doing that was because in this video, you learn that Freemasonry, again, people who are, if you're a Freemason and you believe that you're doing good, you have to understand that within this group, again, you have to take an oath, which is, you're already breaking laws. If you're thinking about Christianity and Jesus Christ and the rule of law when it comes to all of that, you're already breaking one by taking an oath. Taking a vow of silence. Because you're not supposed to take an oath or do any of that cult type stuff. That's against Jesus Christ. That's against what Christianity stands for, right? So understand that this video, he breaks all that down. He breaks down how Freemasonry has not only infiltrated the entertainment industry, infiltrated our banks, infiltrated our governments, even infiltrated other religions such as Christianity. I brought that separation up between God and Jesus because in their cult, evil is good and good is evil. Keep that in mind. Evil is good and good is evil to them. And when they talk about the light bearer, They're not talking about Jesus Christ. Who's the opposite of Jesus Christ? Ask yourself, if Jesus Christ isn't their God, and if evil is good and good is evil, then who is their God? Do some research. They have a God, and he's referred to as the light barrier. Light bearer, as I should say, not barrier, light bearer. They refer to him as the light bearer. They refer to him as the one true God. And they say that this God brings light. But remember, everything is opposite. Evil is good and good is bad. Or evil is good and good is evil. So why isn't light dark and dark is light? Think about it. Think about who their God is, who their light bearer is, and what their light actually is. Watch this video. He will show you the symbolism. He will show you the oath. He will show you what happens when you break that vow of silence. That oath you took. This is why you can't trust the Freemasons. People tell you they're a Freemason. You can't trust them because they took a vow of silence. And if they break that oath, harm will come to them. And he breaks that down, what that harm is. There are many, many bad things that can come to somebody who breaks that oath. And when you see the full scope of their reach, it will make sense why megachurches exist. Why the Pope and the Vatican are one of the richest and most wealthiest places on earth. Why celebrities all of a sudden are Christian haters or Jesus Christ haters. It'll make sense to you why these same celebrities will mention God, their God, but not Jesus Christ. All the questions that I had growing up, this video answers them. And it puts into perspective of how far and how dark things have become on this planet that we call home. Because they believe in God, but not Jesus Christ. And their God doesn't like Jesus Christ. They don't like Jesus Christ. And people who aren't part of this club are looked at as vile vermin. You and me. And you atheists that are listening, you are what you see modern society, how Christians are treated in modern society. To this society of people, you are what the modern society are to Christians, if that makes sense. Atheists are laughed at. You're a joke. And there's a reason for it. You're going to see in this video that there are prominent atheists, famous atheists, okay? Prominent atheists who are Freemasons. If you know an atheist in real life who says that they're a Freemason, they are not an atheist. Because the God that the Freemasons believe in order to believe in that God, you have to believe in good and evil. You have to pledge allegiance to this God. And again, evil is good, good is evil. That's the way they believe. Jesus Christ is the one true God. Jesus Christ is light. Jesus Christ is good. But not to these individuals. Jesus Christ is the only thing that they fear. He gets into the whole Jesus Christ thing too. When people say Jesus died for our sins, understand that God paid, or Jesus Christ paid a currency that these people understand. He paid with blood. And when he gets into the very dark side of Freemasonry, you will understand why blood is a currency to these people. Witchcraft. You'll understand it all. And the reason why they hate God is because he paid that currency. So his believers, they can't be touched. Now, do I believe a rapture's coming? I don't know. What I do know is knowing that if a rapture does come, know that if you've given yourself to Jesus Christ, that you will be among his flock. And the wolf in sheep's clothing can't touch you. After seeing this video, I had already been trying to build my relationship with Jesus Christ just based on everything that's been going on in the past couple of years. Seeing this video just furthered that understanding. Because at the end of the day, I much rather believe in Jesus Christ and much rather have Jesus Christ's armor on me every single day than fall in line with what the other side is offering. I actually prayed the other day after I watched this video, and it's funny because I had a conversation with Jesus Christ. And again, now I may be sounding crazy to some of y'all, but I don't mind sharing this stuff with you guys. Because again, these are things that I'm learning. Excuse me. Sorry, my allergies are messing with me. But I had a conversation with Jesus Christ the other day. And it was almost like I was thanking him. Because, as you guys know, I'm an artist. I'm now a content creator. But when I was younger, I've always wanted to be in entertainment my entire life. And when I was a teenager, I was in bands. And the bands that I was in, we played for labels. We met A&R guys. We were trying to get signed. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a famous rocker, man. Now seeing this video and knowing what I know, I'm living the reality of when people say God has a plan for you. And he may not answer the way you want him to. But I do believe that he does have a path for you. And after seeing everything that I've seen, I know in my heart, in my soul, I would never want to be a part of what that is. And Jesus Christ knew that. And he kept me from ever having to go down that path, down that road. Because I was young and dumb. And I've learned over time that money doesn't matter. And no matter what struggles I've been through, Jesus Christ has always made sure that I have the strength to keep carrying on. It's been rough for me these past couple of weeks. Emotionally, I've been just emotionally drained because, again, I'm a truth seeker. Watching that video really, it confirmed a lot of what I had already been thinking about. But it's exhausting because at the end of the day, it is frustrating. It's frustrating that we are just pawns in evil's scheme to take over the world and take over our souls. It's a never-ending battle, and there's a religious battle that's going on in a realm that we can't see, that we can't comprehend. Most of y'all will never be able to comprehend. But understand that the way I think, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to tell you that if you don't believe what I believe, then we can't be friends. I love every single one of y'all. And I'm becoming more open with you guys because I want y'all to know who I really am, what I'm really about, and understand that my beliefs and my opinions are genuine, and that at the end of the day, I'm not going to judge who you are because I know who I am, and I know what I believe, and I know what relationships that I'm trying to build and what my intentions are with those relationships. I align myself with Jesus Christ. I align myself with the true light. Because everything else that those people want is nothing but evil and darkness. I don't have to tell people I'm a good person. Hell, I don't even feel the need to prove to people that I'm a good person. I just live my life. And you can take me how I am or don't. But understand that I want nothing but the best for anybody and everybody that I encounter. And you can think I'm crazy. You can call me every name in the book. But the only person, the only entity that is allowed to judge me and it mean anything is Jesus Christ himself. And if anything, if the rapture does come, that means the Antichrist is coming first. And if anything, I'm glad that I'm at least awake to that. It confirms everything that I believed about not worshiping man, not bowing down to man, not worshiping false idols. If you're willing to watch this video with an open mind and understand that what you're going to see may change your perception of the world you live in, then please watch this video. I'm also going to leave a link to another video that I watched that will break your heart, and it's dark. I'll leave that as the second link. And if you have the will and the stomach to watch it, please do watch that one as well. That one's not as long. And that one you may be questioning, but understand that these people put this stuff in plain sight because you are nothing to them. You don't matter. And they think that you're stupid. So when you see that stuff, you may be like, well, if this stuff was real, why would they allow this on TV if it's so real? And if they control the media, again, they think you're stupid. They say this shit jokingly, or you perceive it as a joke because you're dumb. In their eyes, you are stupid. Their symbolism is what's going to destroy them. They openly mock every single person. They openly mock Jesus Christ. And when you understand that, and you let this stuff marinate, and you see it for what it is, it can be soul crushing sometimes. But understand that it's the way it is, and it's the way it's always been. It's been a plan. And the only way to combat it is to give yourself to the true light. And if you don't want to, that's fine. And if you think I'm an idiot and I'm stupid for wanting to talk about this stuff, then that's your right. Again, your judgment of me means nothing. I don't look for validation in humans, in other men and women. I don't need it. The only validation I've ever needed is the validation from Jesus Christ. And I'm just now finding that out now. But if you've known me since I was a kid, I never really sought out validation. There are a few people in my life that I looked up to, and their word meant something to me. But I'm in a position in my life now where I'm going to do me. Understand that I'm just trying to share information, and you can take it or leave it. But if you have time, please go watch this video. This dude is putting his life on the line because, again, he took an oath and he broke it. And understand that this is coming from somebody who was in those circles. And you're more than welcome to fact check him, because the books that he mentions do exist and you can get your hands on them. And everything that's gone on in this past year and a half, 2 years, if you've been awake to all of that, understand that this video is not far-fetched. But with that being said, thank you for taking this journey with me. Thank you for still listening. If you're still listening, I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Like, you don't understand. Like, I really do love the fact that people come back and listen to this show every week. And if you like me sharing my personal views and my personal life and want to hear more stories, I think I'm going to start doing that, just to really, again, drive home who I am to you guys. And if you're feeling like you want to share some stories with me or looking for advice, I don't know how much advice I could give, but if you respect my opinion and would like me to give my opinion, then you can write into the show at cognitivediscoursepodcast@gmail.com. That's cognitivediscoursepodcast@gmail.com. Or if you just want to send me some hate mail that you want me to share, I'm okay with that as well. Send me whatever you want to send me. As always, join our Facebook group, check out our Instagram, and I'm still working on the YouTube, catching up on that. I've been doing a lot more other stuff with Basic Ass Dudes as of right now, but we're getting there. I also have some exclusive content that I don't release on the audio version of this podcast that you can go check out on YouTube. I've been releasing some poems that I've been writing here lately, that I made them to kind of not only practice my voice acting, but practice my video editing skills and writing like ambient music that fits the atmosphere of what I'm reading. So if that's something that you're interested in and you want to go check that out, go to the YouTube page and check it out, because that's where I thought about putting them on here, but I like the fact that they're just exclusively YouTube, so go check it out over there. And then, like I said, check out Basic Ass Dudes. We just covered Trick or Treat. We have 13 Ghosts coming out as well soon, a review of that movie. And we just have a lot of cool content that's coming from that show. I'm really enjoying doing it with Nolan, so don't forget to check that out. And yeah, man, if you want to support the show, you can buy merch. I'll have links down to that too. It's not needed, but it definitely is appreciated. It helps keep the show going. And again, like I said, money isn't everything. I've even been trying to get my mom to understand that, her biggest flaw was worshiping money. And I understand that when you're growing up poor, but we're trying to change that. And at the end of the day, even if you think I'm crazy for my beliefs in Jesus Christ and religion in general, understand that at the end of the day, it's making me a better person. And really that's all we can ask for, right? Is to be better people. Not only to ourselves, but to others. Go back to what we were raised on, which was treat people how you want to be treated. And yeah, that's ultimately what I've always strived to do. And now all I am is just asking for guidance from a higher power to allow myself to wear his armor and to allow myself to let him fill me with light and push out darkness, push away the negativity, and only let the positive in. I feel better. And I hope the video does some justice for you, opens some of your guys' eyes. And like I said, take it to however you want. But understand that video opened my eyes and helped me out. And I'm only sharing it because I want to return the favor. But with that being said, enjoy your Friday. Have a safe weekend. And until next time.